Okay. Hello guys. So let's start the class. So today we'll be going through some advanced CSS topics. So in the last CSS class we had the assignment. So we had this assignment, isn't it? So in this, what we did was to put the image and the paragraph side by side. We used what? Inline block. Display inline block, isn't it? So we'll see one more method how to do this. Okay. So how I did this file was I used a different method. So let's create a file. We'll see a new CSS property called float. Okay. Okay. So we'll have an image and then we'll have a paragraph. Okay. So if we don't apply any styles, the image and the paragraph gets displayed like this, isn't it? But in the image tag, I use a property called float left. Let's see what happens. You do see what happened? The image is floating actually. When we use the float property, the image floats. And what value we have given to the property? Left. So the image will float in the left. If we put a right, it will float in the right direction. Okay. So let's see if right works or not. Okay. So this is also one way to do the to keep two elements side by side. Okay. But what happens is can you see this? The data is stopped by the image, but after the image is complete, the data is coming below. Okay, so what is happening here is actually when we use CSS, the CSS property float, what happens that what to whatever element we use we apply the float, that element comes out of the DOM. Actually we have the DOM, right, the browser DOM, so it comes out of the DOM and it is placed just above the DOM. So what happens in this case, the text is coming below. Okay, so that is a disadvantage in some of the places where we can't we don't get the desired results. Okay, you can see it here. Suppose if I don't want the text here, I want the text only up to this part, then I can't use float. Okay, okay, fine. So that was float. So you can try that to the last assignment. Okay, you can use, instead of display inline block, you can use float and see what are the results, in which places you are unable to fix it. In some places it will be like okay, it's working, in some places it won't work. So we have to use this property accordingly. Okay, when we don't have things overflowing around it, we can use float. But when we have this kind of things, if we don't want this kind of look, then we don't use float. Okay, so now we'll go to another property. So there's a property called flex. Okay, in CSS we have a property called flex. So what is that flex? We'll see. So what is happening when I'm having 4 divs, box 1, box 2, box 3, and box 4? If you don't apply any CSS, what happens? These are block level elements, so it is placed one after the another. Okay, so how to make them side by side? But first thing is we can use display inline block. To what we have to apply this style? We have to apply inline block to all the divs. Okay, otherwise it won't work. If I apply to box 1, what will happen? Only box 1 will become inline block, but the other 3 boxes, they will still be block level elements, so it won't be applied to them. Okay, and then we have another property called display flex. Okay, what does display flex do? Display flex will make the divs flexible. Okay, If we resize the screen, we can resize the screen, right? If we resize the screen, it will adjust to the width. Okay, if we have the big screen, it will have a big width. If we have a small screen, it will be small. So let's see how this thing works. So for that, what we need is, we should have a parent element. Suppose we have 4 divs, 5 divs, 6 divs, 10 divs, whatever we have. For those divs, we should have a parent. So now this is the parent for these 4 divs. Okay. Now what we'll do, we'll apply a property, CSS property called display flex. Now let's see what happens. Did you see what happened? It made the boxes side by side, inline block and flexible. Okay, so we'll see how that thing is working. So now we have seen how this is. Okay, now up to this it is okay, but okay, let's see, we put some width also. What happens then? Okay, width is applied. Okay, now we'll see inside flex there are a lot of other properties. Okay, suppose if I want the box not on this side, I want all the 4 boxes to be on the right side. What should I do? I want this box 1 to be here, box 2 to be at the end, box 2 and 3 here. What should I do? Okay, so we'll go one by one. First thing is, we'll see how this thing happens. Okay. So we applied display flex here, isn't it? To the parent. Whatever properties we'll use, we use for the parent. Okay. For now. Then we'll see what we can apply to the child. So we'll write flex direction. There is one more property called flex direction. So what we can do, we can add the ID here. Instead of writing it inline, styles will give a ID. Flex parent. Okay. So I'll put the parent here as flex. So flex direction. This flex direction, it is by default having a value. By default, it is having value row. Okay, this is the default value. So if I put the default value, nothing will change. Did you see? I saved it and reloaded it, nothing happened. That means the flex direction row is already there. Now if I write row reverse, did you see what happened? Earlier it was 1 2 3 4. Now it went to the end and it became 4 3 2 1. Okay, so this is one more property. We have to use display flex. Along with that, we have to use flex direction row reverse. Okay, we have to use both the things together. Otherwise, if we use only one, it won't work. Okay, so this is flex row reverse. Now let's see what is flex column. 1 2 3 4. Okay, now let's see what is flex column reverse. 4 3 2 1. You see, So these are very important. Suppose you want a vertical navbar on this side, on the left side. Home, menu, about us, contact us. The same project, the same assignment that I gave, you can do it in this way, right? Using flex. So when you use flex, it's very easy. We don't need to put margin, we don't need to put inline block and height, width. Don't need to worry about all those things. Okay, these things get adjusted automatically. Now what is next? We saw flex row reverse, flex column, and flex column reverse. Okay, now we'll see justify content. So if I save it, it will become row. Okay, fine. So now we have a property called justify content. Justify content. All right. By default, the value is start. So nothing changed. Now what I'll write? I'll write justify content end. What happened? Okay. My end is not working. So if we want to put it in the center, justify content center. Okay. In the same way, we have start, end, center, between. End is not working. Okay, we'll see what is happening. Now we have between. What happens in between? Array. Okay. No. Actually, the thing is, these properties are for Bootstrap. So if you see, we have flex start and flex end. Actually, we don't have the property justify content end. Yes. So justify content end is actually is in Bootstrap. So what we have to write? We have to write flex end. Flex end. write like this, see, it went to the end. Okay, you can use center directly. Either you have to use flex start, flex end, center. Okay, because all these properties are not available in normal CSS. So then we have center, we saw center. Then we have space between. You see the space between. The space between, what happens? It will apply some space only between the elements. The divs, it is not applying around. It is not what it is called. The space is not around the divs. It is only between. Okay, only on the inside, not on the outside. Suppose if I write instead of space between, if I write space around, then what happens? The space is coming around. Okay, so that is the difference between around and between. So these are the, then we have space evenly. So in space evenly, what happens? If you see, what it is called, observe carefully in the space around, what is happening? This gap is half of this gap. Can you see what is happening? Actually, when we apply space around, what happens? This box 4 id, this box 4 div, what it is getting? It is getting a margin on both its sides, that is around the box. So what happens around the box means this gap and also a gap up to this area. Do you understand? This gap getting this gap and this gap. In the same way, this box is also getting this gap and this gap. That's why here what is happening? It is containing two gaps. Gap of box 3 and gap of box 4. That's why it appears that this is double of this. Okay. So, but here what is happening? The gap is not even. Here we have 2x. Suppose the gap is 2x, here is also 2x, here is also 2x, but here and here we have x, isn't it? So when I write space evenly, what happens? This gap is equal in all the sides. Can you see? 2x, 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 2x. We may need these kind of things, isn't it? So space evenly and space around, both are necessary. Then what we have, then yeah, that's the things. So this is display flex. Then what else we have? This is one thing, evenly and all those things. Then we have align items. Okay, align items. Okay, so now in this case, what was happening? The boxes were uh, having, where is it? The boxes are having same width, same height, isn't it? But sometimes if we have the height different, suppose we have 4 boxes of different height, then what will happen? It won't align, right? One box is coming up to this, the second box is coming up to this, then again it is coming up to this. So if the height is varying, we have to apply some other property. So there is a property called align items. So first let's see how that thing is working. So for that, what do I need to do? I will change the heights of all the boxes. Okay, I'll give h1, h2, h3, h4. So observe carefully, we can apply more than one class to a element. Okay, so we can write it inside the same double quotes but with a space. Okay, h1, h2, h3, okay, h4. Okay, so write dot h1, it is 100 px. For h2, the height is 200 px. Then we have dot h3, height is px. Dot h4, height is again 100 px. See what happens. Now we have boxes of different sizes. Now what is happening? The boxes are aligned to the top. Can you see? All are aligned to. We don't want uh, this kind of layout. Suppose I want everyone to be on the bottom, or we want everything in the middle. So for that, what we will do now, if I want everything in the, so what is happening here? We have a property called align items. This align items, it takes start, end, center, baseline, and stretch. So by default, it becomes stretch. Here we have given height, that's why stretch is not working. If we don't give height, it will stretch. Okay, we'll come to that, but let's see how to solve this. So now it is sticking to the top. So we want, first, what do we want? We want it in the bottom or in the center? Bottom. Okay, so what I'll do, align items end. Okay, so when we apply align items flex end, all the items are fixed to the end. Okay, suppose if I want it to be in the center, then it will come to the center. Then if I want it to be top, flex start will make it to the top. Okay, so these are the most important things: flex start, center, and flex end. Then we have some other things like baseline, then stretch. So baseline, in baseline what happens, it will whatever fonts we write, the fonts are sitting on a baseline actually. So if I apply baseline now, if the align items are given center and if I use baseline, then there will be no difference. Actually, I'll show you. One right here, center, center, and then if I write baseline, there will be no changes. Okay, okay, okay. So what is happening here? Here it is, this text is there. There is a baseline, so it is sticking to that baseline actually. Okay, so this baseline is not that important. First thing is start, flex starts, center, and flex end. This is the most important thing. Okay, then what we have, align self. Now we have the boxes are of different heights. Now let's see what align self does. What align self will do, align self is a property that we use. See, till now whatever properties we used it on the parent, isn't it? Now if I want something like I have three divs and I want all the items to align to one particular div. Okay, suppose this div has low height, I want everything to align to this item. Then what I have to do to this element, not to the parent, to this element I have to apply this align self property. Okay, now let's see here. We'll use suppose 200 px. I'll apply align self not start actually maybe. Okay, okay, it's already at the start, so that's why. Ah, can you see now? This align self, if I apply it to the first block, what happens? You see, it got aligned to the end. Okay, and all the other boxes are if I use flex start to the first element, it will be aligned to the top. If I put here center, it will come to the center. In the same way, if I apply it to the second div, the box came to the center, and if I use flex end, okay, this has the highest width, height, so it won't work here. Go for this one, and so the box 3 came to the end. Let's start, go to the top. If I put again center, come to the center. Okay, so this way these flex properties are working. And then okay, flex will grow and shrink. Okay, that's enough for now. And one more thing, we have auto margins. So we'll remove this also. So we had these boxes. Now the thing is, suppose I want the boxes. How are the boxes displayed? The boxes are displayed to the left and next to one another, isn't it? So, but I want, suppose I have a web page and I have the home button here and the logout button. So we don't have logout button on this side, right? We'll have it on the end. something like that. So what I can do, I can apply margin auto. So there are some things called, suppose to the last element, that is h4. To the h4, what I'll do, dot h4, and I'll apply margin left auto. Okay, what happens when I apply margin left auto? Did you see? Margin left means to the left. To the left, it will apply the whole margin, whatever is available. Okay, so what happens when we apply that? It will go to the extreme right. Okay, if I apply the same thing to h3, h3 will go along with h4. Okay, that means when I'm applying it to h3, when I'm applying it to h3, h3 is taking, going to the left, going to the right along with box 4. So it is whatever it has with it, it will take it with it. Okay, so if I apply this to h1, what will happen? It will take everything to the right. Okay, so this way we can have, suppose we have a navbar, we have home, products, about us, contact us, lot of things are there. Suppose I want some of the things to be on this side, some of the things to be on that side, then what I'll do, suppose I want box 1 and box 2 on the left side and box 3 and box 4 on the right side. So we will apply margin left auto to which element? Box 3, isn't it? So that is margin left auto. In the same way, we have margin right auto also. You see, it went there. If I make it h2 like that, okay, what will happen now? So this is margin auto. What is margin auto? But if I remove the display flex, will it work? No. Okay, okay, so that is enough, and if required we will see the later see the remaining things later on. But okay, this is one more property, that is align content. We saw align items, flex start, align items flex end, align items center, but we have another thing called align content. Okay, so this how it works, let's see. Let's have a lot of boxes. Okay, let's see how this is being displayed. Okay, so it is coming like this. Now okay, Okay. So now what happens? There is a thing called flex wrap. Okay. Suppose what happens if we don't use flex wrap? What happens? Whatever width we have given here, 300 px, 400 px, this doesn't matter actually. When you use width and normal display flags, what happens? Whatever the size of the div, it will be compressed according to the screen width. Okay. And if I have 3 boxes, then also it will occupy one line. If we have 10 boxes, then also it will occupy one line. But if I use flex wrap, what will happen? This is known as wrapping. In the Microsoft Word also we are having everywhere. Whenever we write something, if I write a long word at the end of the, in the Microsoft Word, suppose when I'm writing and the end of the sentence, end of the line, I have a long word like I scream. What will happen? It will come down. That is known as wrapping, word wrap. Now here we use flex wrap. So what happens when I use flex wrap? If I write here none, no wrap or none, something is there. If we use that, that is default. That means it won't wrap. But when I write flex wrap wrap, what will happen? It will come to the next line according to the width. Then only this width will work. Otherwise, this width won't work. Okay. So now what is happening? We are having boxes like this. Okay, I will remove some 2 boxes. Fine. We are having like this. And what else is added? Okay. Okay. Fine. Now we have a property called align content. Okay. So content is given to, okay. What is happening? Okay, fine. So this flex parent, I'll give a height to this. Now you will see. First, we'll remove the align content center. What happens? So the parent div where the flex is applied is this box. It is a very big box, isn't it? And inside the box we have the flex items. Now, if I want all these flex items to be present at the top of this parent, okay, I don't want it like this. There are gaps here, and it is not even going to the bottom, isn't it? So, what we need align content. Let's start. Okay, the parent div is already is still big. You see it? red box, and the flex boxes went to the top. In the same way, we have flex end. You can have something like this. Same way, we have center. It will come to the middle. Okay. It will have equal gap from the top and also from the bottom. So suppose we have a navbar or a box in which we want all the things to be in the middle. Then what we can do? We can use this align content. Okay. Okay. That's it. So now what we have to do is, till now what we did, do at a website. Let me go to that website. What was happening there? This page. We designed this page, right? We had a home page, we had a products page, and we had about us page. About us page I didn't give the assignment, so today you can do it. But now what you have to do, you won't use display inline anywhere. You should not use display inline anywhere. Okay, what you will use, display flex everywhere. Okay, for this navbar, for this two things. Okay, everywhere flex should be there. And then in the products page, for these 6 boxes, what you applied margin for this gap, isn't it? So these things, no margin. For the outside thing also you applied margin, isn't it? Now I don't want any margin. I don't want display inline flex, the inline block. Okay, everything should be done using display flex, align item center, align content, self align, all those things. Okay, and then we'll have about us page. You just need to modify the code there. Don't create new pages. Okay, just change the styles in that existing file. Okay, and about us page also you will do. So what you will do, I have a contact us page here, and have any questions thing is here. What you will do, this contact us thing, this whole thing should be on the right side, not on the left side. Okay, so start doing it from home. Just start doing. So now the navbar is complete, right? So now what you need to do, you need to apply the display flex to this image and the text. Okay, you have to have the same behavior that we had earlier. What was there? We have the image, and then there is a gap, and then the paragraph. So first apply the display flex, and in place of inline block, and do this. Then we'll see what other properties we need for this to be displayed. Okay, okay, do that. So what we do is, we write the display flex in the parent. You can see in the screen, you can see we are writing the display flex and justify content also in the parent, and align item center. Whatever properties of display flex we have, everything will write in the parent only. Okay, no one should write all these properties in the child. Okay, this should not happen because I have seen many of you have done like that.
Yes.
So now I am telling it. So this should not happen in future. Okay, I should not again go and tell you that don't write this in the child. Don't write this in the child. Display flag, justify content between, align item center, align content, whatever properties I said today. Only accept the self align. Except the self align. Other than that, margin auto is not part of display flags. Okay. Other than that, whatever properties today we saw, and we have one more, that is align content. Align content center is also there. So whatever properties we saw today, we'll all write all these things in the parent only. Okay, keep in mind. So now we have just completed justify content. Now we'll go for align items. So when I say apply align items, you should not apply it to the child. Okay, in the same way, after this we'll do align content also. Okay then.